The only thing that she is curious about and will point at is, oh, how much is that diamond in that case? Could you put that out on the counter for me to see it? She'll point at that. It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Margie, it is lovely to see you. We've just had our little check-in chat before we started, and I feel 180 degrees away from how I felt when I sat down in this booth before we hit record, yada, yada. So thank you so much for that.
Same.
I really appreciate it.
I feel like I just said our intro and I sounded like AI doing it, which is so weird because I always feel most human after like I see you and talk to you for a minute before we start recording. And then I just deliver the weirdest
Hardly
AI introduction. I was like, hello, this is, it's insane. Maybe it's because it's early and I haven't talked much yet, but
that's, you know what?
anyways,
honestly, that could be it.
I was like, what voice is this? What is that cadence? Whatever. I can't be more AI than Heather Dubrow, you know?
Yeah.
She's just a robot at this point and I hate it.
Agreed. I 100% agree. Do you want to just,
Let's
you know what?
Dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. But
sorry.
Before we dive in, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. I learned yesterday, and this is my bad. I agree, or I own that.
I love that you hear a chorus like of an angry mob going like, "Boo, Ramona." You're like, "I agree. It's fine, guys."
I agree. Yes, downvote me. Downvote away. This is if I was a Reddit sub, if I was a Reddit post, I would be downvoted for what I'm about to say. So I've had an iPhone since, whatever iteration of iPhone since 2000. I think I got mine in 2008. Thanks to my boss, Todd Sugimoto, who I look back at his kindness that he showed me the entire time I was his employee when I worked in commercial real estate for a few years for some bosses that were fully supportive of my acting endeavors. And so I was often able to take long lunches to do an audition, a last minute callback, a job, whatever. And one of my bosses was just super kind and he noticed how much I liked his iPhone when he first got it. And he got me one for my fucking birthday.
That's really
Can you
lovely.
believe that? So lovely.
I believe it.
And
you would do the same.
I would. I absolutely would. You're absolutely right. But so my point is I've had an iPhone since 2008 and I've always listened to podcasts on Apple Podcasts. I just figured that every operating system had their own podcast app and that's what people used. And my husband's had an iPhone since it first came out as well. And I'm like, well, don't you listen to our podcast on Apple? And he said, no, I listen on Spotify. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I think most people listen on Spotify. I'm like, you don't have the Apple Podcast app? And he said, no. And I've used it for so long. I just figured it automatically was just there on your phone when you get a new one. And the majority of my friends are iPhone users. One of my best friends is Android, and our phones do not play well together. She's deprived of all of my hilariously selected GIFs. Mm-hmm. Trust me, she doesn't need more spam from me. It's probably her phone's like, look, bitch, I'm doing you a goddamn favor. It's good your phone don't play well with hers. Anyway, so it was eye-opening to me. So I think my point is Spotify users, if you're out there, throw us a rating. You don't even have to type anything out. If you really want to make our day, you could post a rating and type up a little review. That would be great. Subscribe, pass it on. That's all.
Rate, review,
please,
review,
thank
subscribe. You. What is that, right? That's what the kids say. Smash the like button, whatever the hell.
Smash the like button, yep.
No, I feel like that's even old. Nobody says that
It is
anymore.
old now.
Okay,
I don't think so. I think they do it in a way to be like, hello, fellow kids, which is exactly, I actually have that. Do I have that in regards to Heather Dubrow later? Hello, fellow children. Hello, fellow kids. I think
Probably.
I do. So yes, this is season 18, episode 4 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. The title is Not My Cup of Tea. S18E4
Oh, a
because we're on
golf
the golf
one.
course.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So I kind of liked that one.
That's
I kind of liked
clever.
it. Yeah,
I'm
a
into
little
it.
bit.
It's like, it's fine. It's fine.
Agreed. And we got the taglines this episode,
I
Margie.
know. And as expected, I was like, this is what happens when you wait too long. You put too much pressure on them. And then I was so critical because I was like so focused on them. Normally, when they slide in at episode 2 or 3, I'm just like, oh, haha. And this time I was like, Heather, nobody tries to play you. Jen, nobody
Oh my
cares how
God.
flexible you are. Tamara, nobody thinks that you have, that what did
You're
she
flipping
say?
off. The only thing I flip. The
Oh,
only thing I
stuck
flip
up.
off is
The only thing
yeah. The
stuck
only
up. I'm like, nobody thinks you're stuck up. These are wrong.
Nobody thinks you're
I just
stuck
got
up,
upset.
girl.
Yes, exactly. I was like, these are
Yeah.
just like clever phrases I wouldn't have noticed 2 weeks ago, but this is what you did. You made me wait till episode 4, and now I'm too honed in, and now I'm disappointed.
Well, taglines became a thing. They became their own, memeable, gifable character on the show. And so now they're trying to do the most when before, like you said, like before when they just slid it in, that's what she said. Just kidding. Oh my God, I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. I could have helped it probably. I don't know,
That's what she
actually. It
said.
just came
I
out
don't
real
care.
fast.
Listen.
That's what she said.
Oh God, it's all happening. Yeah, it just
You know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, it's gotten too, as a groundlings teacher of mine used to say, it's gotten too written. It's just
Yes.
like none of this is authentic anymore. Yes, I saw it and I turned it off.
Oh,
Heather
my
Dubrow
God.
on Watch What Happens Live
Oh, my
said,
God,
I'm
Margie.
taking classes at the groundlings, and I immediately turned my TV off and walked out of the room because I was like, I'm going to get obsessed about who her teacher is. I'm going to get obsessed and start like trying to figure out how she's doing. I'm going to try and sit in on the class. Like, I'm crazy. I have to step away from this.
No, you're not, because I thought of you. Obviously, I thought of you first. She's all the ground, and I was all, oh my God, what is Margie going to say? I am like, okay, I hope she's, how do I explain this? Improv is so fucking hard. It is so fucking hard. And I don't know either if improv can be a nature or a nurture thing. I think that there is something in the people that excel in improv that it's there or it's not. A little bit. Practice. And I know all of the good improv people I know, they work out in that theater. It is a gym of the mind. Ooh, I could cry because I've seen the caliber of people that you perform with in the groundlings, and they are riveting. Like, every time I got to see one of your shows or go with you to a show, I can't get enough. Like, I just want to absorb it all. And it's just the talent up there, and the hilarity, and you have to be so smart to do improv.
But you don't even have to be book smart. Heather Dubrow is antithetical to everything that I understand improv to be, everything that I teach improv to be. It's about teamwork. It's about listening. It's about being willing to look ugly, being willing to go big and get no response, but the only way you get any response is to go big. And Heather is so controlled and trying to be funny, and you have to be Will Ferrell. You can't be Heather Dubrow. Like, I just can't imagine what the experience of teaching her is like. I know, actually, because I've had students like her who are like, well, I'm an actress, so I am approaching this in a different way. I'm like, everyone in here is an actress. Everyone in here, like Will Ferrell is an actor. Kristen Wiig is an actor. Like, that's part of the skill set.
Kate McKinnon, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
you just have to let it rip, and you have to be a listener and a team player, and you have to be honest. The best comedy is from the most honest place inside of you and the most honest place in the moment on stage. And this bitch plans everything. It just must be such a worthwhile, challenging experience for her fellow students to be in scenes with her. It would test my skills to be able to like stay in it and make it fun and funny for an audience if I was with Heather Dubrow. I'm sure she'll guest in a show. I'm sure of it.
Oh, God,
they have celebrity guest stars, and whatever. Anyways, yes.
Yeah, but the
blew my
celebrity
mind.
guest stars, aren't they usually alum that have done like major hours in there, like going through the ranks, just like everybody has to?
They
She better not be
usually
getting
are.
special treatment. I will be so mad.
No, she won't get special treatment in the school, but my guess is they'll use her to draw audience and I'll go see it.
Okay,
I would die to go
sure.
see her on stage with like Mike Hitchcock and like all these incredible, performers. Anyways, and they'll make her look great. Like that's what I love about the Groundlings is like Heather will think she's amazing. There's so many celebrity guests who come there and think they're hilarious and awesome. But what they don't realize is they're pushing for comedy and everyone around them is doing so much work to make it actually funny and relatable and human and all this stuff. And that's what I appreciate about the Groundlings. It's amazing. The people who really have that skill set are, I don't know, it's like a philosophy at a certain point.
100%. And like speaking of, talking about the Groundlings, while the Olympics are currently happening, the Sunday Company, of which you were/are a member, that is the Olympics. The Sunday Company is the Olympics. And the blood, the sweat, the tears, you guys go out there and you make it look so freaking easy, like those young women who can do front handsprings and land on a 4-inch wide beam. Like you guys do make it look easy and you'll make her look fantastic because
And
that's just...
You fail a lot. Like the Sunday Company is sort of the apprentice company at the Groundlings for anyone who doesn't know, and certainly no one cares. But you put up a new show every week, so you're constantly writing new material. And part of what I found so valuable and humbling about that experience is a lot of your stuff fails. A lot of it. You bomb a lot in that experience, and you learn how to get up and try again, and you learn how to write anyway, even when your brain feels dry and comedy seems like a foreign language all of a sudden. It's really, and I just don't know. I don't see Heather having that kind of work ethic. I don't see her having the willingness to bomb and, and not blame people. You can't blame anyone. You just have to like bomb and move forward. It's nobody's fault. Everyone, you write, you perform it, and sometimes like it's surprisingly great and sometimes it's surprisingly or predictably awful. It's just fucking art, man.
Man, art. Live art is just the best.
You can't know. Oh,
This has been Two Theater Kids Grow Up and talk about a real housewife that's going to take classes at the Groundlings.
all
Good
roads
night.
lead back to Bravo. That's it. And I will say the other thing I noticed and was grateful for is we got a little reprieve from Alexis in this episode. She wasn't in
Yeah.
it. I did not miss her. I was so glad for more time with Katie. So
Me too.
just want that
Speaking
on
of Katie,
record. Yes.
my sister, I've scolded her for the past 3 weeks because she had not started Orange County yet. So I was like, I'm dying to talk to you about this. Like, come on, you have to check out this new housewife. She's going to take Dubrow down. So yesterday she finally started catching up, and she said about Katie, you can tell she's smart by her voice and her confidence. And I was like, I agree. And then 2 seconds later, I thought of something that I've talked about in therapy so many times. And again, I am projecting. I do not know at all if this is an experience that Katie shares. I just wonder if it's something that she shares with me. I wondered if her confidence comes from a place that, because I've heard, I don't know, since people commented on children's personalities, like, you're really confident, but you seem really confident. Like, if I would, tell someone like, oh, I struggle with depression, they'd be like, what? You don't? And it's like, yeah, the people that you never think are depressed are, often depressed, not just the depression though, like I heard like, oh, but you seem so confident. You don't seem like you're insecure. I'm like, yes, because I am working my ass off so that you will not see that I feel other, insecure, et cetera, et cetera. And my point is that I don't know if she grew up in a white space, like meaning her neighborhood and where she went to school, but she did grow up in a family that was like completely white. And so if the rest of her neighborhood and her school were mainly that demographic where she was the minority, I and this is where I'm going to start projecting, and this is what I've talked about in therapy so many times. You know, I grew up in a primarily white space, went to primarily white schools. This is while we lived in Washington State when I was a kid for a little while. And like, I learned how to be confident, partly because I was a child of an alcoholic and I didn't want anyone to know how fucking broken and terrible I was. Like, maybe if I could make you laugh or make you think that I was dynamic in any way, shape, or form, you wouldn't see that I didn't feel like loved or cherished at all at home. Or you would see that, like, yeah, I know my skin's dark, but like, I'm just as good as anybody else, or I can overcome that because I know it's not a positive thing. So watch me be so confident and so like with it and together and sharp and bright and whatever, that my confident exterior will keep you from knowing the turmoil that's really going on. Projecting with a capital P, italicized, bold, like I understand what I'm doing right now, but I wonder if that's where part of Katie's confidence comes from. I think it's part of my personality and probably part of her personality. Just curious.
I mean,
all.
It sounds like it in that conversation she had with her husband at dinner. It was really interesting to hear her sort of work through some of the resentment toward her parents, light resentment.
Yep.
It wasn't like white hot. And him sort of saying, you know, they did the best they could with what they got. And both things are true. It's like they did the best they could with what they got, and it was incomplete and left me with some scars. And now I'm an adult, so I get to work on healing those and doing it differently with my own children, which I loved her being so vocal about. But yeah, I think everything you said aligns so much with who seems to be after knowing her for, 4 episodes. She's so compelling.
I think so too. I think
really
she
like
is
her.
too. God, and everyone just like, oh, you better eat your Wheaties, you better get your smoothie, you better drink your protein powder. Like, God, you guys, Heather is a straw man.
I love how pathetic they look doing that. I love that it's all in there for us to watch and just be like, I hope you watch this back. And they're all like, I hope you survive. And Katie just absolutely, again, she's my favorite example of like, when the truth is on your side, you can just stand so firmly planted in the ground. And Heather's, flapping around, being all defensive and making excuses and being ridiculous. And Katie was just like, at one point, she was just like, Heather, do you really think he did that? And I was like, oh, it's so still and so slow and so right. And I loved it.
Totally. It definitely, Heather gave the lady doth protest too much, and Katie gave, I'm going to stand in my silence because I am standing in truth.
And also just like that, I love the angle of like, are you serious, Heather? You expect me to believe what you're saying? Like, I loved it. And by the time we get to that scene at the end, I was so full of, I was in full Heather intolerance mode because we open with this stupid scene
oh my God.
of Heather and Terry at their stupid penthouse pointing out their Beverly Hills house in the hills and making a point to be like, is that Drake's house or our house? Because we're right next door, us and Drake. But I did laugh because I'm like, oh, this was shot before the Drake-Kendrick thing went down. And now you guys just seem like idiots because he lost that beef. He got humiliated. And so now living next to Drake is where you should live. That seems right in alignment, guys.
Completely. And this is exactly where I wrote, like, Heather, when she was like, now is that, and she's dramatically pointing. Like, one of the rules of acting is you don't fucking indicate. I mean, maybe if you're doing a show, 5th grade, elementary school show, she's just so indicatey and whatever. To me, they already had that fucking conversation about 1,000,000 times.
They have rehearsed this whole scene for days.
Anyone who's walked in there is like, okay, now follow my finger. Now, if you see that one house right next door, that's where Drake lives. And she's just such a pick-me theater kid. Hello, fellow children. Hello, fellow kids in this scene. And yeah, I wrote down the same thing. It's not the flex you think it is living next door to Drake.
Not anymore.
La,
hilarious.
la, la, ha, ha, ha,
and I love how she is a terrible actress. This whole episode just proves that to its core. Like the way she tried to casually say like, no, wait, is that Drake's house or our house? And it's just like, just say like, isn't it fucking cool that we live next to Drake? Like, what is that?
Oh,
That's amazing.
yeah.
But instead she's like, I think that's just like, just don't just whatever.
No, I agree.
And then Heather makes a claim in this scene, like stating her thesis for the episode that she absolutely violates by the end. She claims she doesn't care about nonsense anymore since Terry's stroke. And then she starts this whole hero narrative about like, I saved him, and with the help of Life 360, who I now am in partnership with. I was just like, you are a ridiculous person. And also, if you don't care about nonsense anymore, then having a fight on a golf course about paparazzi at Disneyland, you lost your own thread, my dear. That's ridiculous. That's nonsense. But
I mean, I think she called those photos.
Of course she did.
Insane.
And everybody said, no, there are no paparazzi at Disneyland.
There are no paparazzi at Disneyland.
The pictures that people get from Disneyland are people, fellow Disneyland goers, who take pictures of the Kardashians and sell them to paparazzi outlets. There are no paparazzi there, you know? And people are taking picture of Northwest and Kim and Kanye. They're not taking picture of like, ooh, there's Heather Dubrow and Terry in an embrace. That's not what anyone's doing. You're insane, Heather. You're absolutely off the rails.
It was just, listen, yeah, you already said all the other stuff I had about that. I don't need to repeat myself, especially because we're on a quasi-time budget today. So,
I mean, I will say the one thing that bugged me at the very end of the scene is she's trying for some like actualized human being rebrand here, where she talked about how like after Terry had his stroke, I didn't allow myself time to break down, and then I scheduled it, and I took one beach walk, and on the way out I cried and cried, and on the way back I was grateful for what was. And I was like, what does that even fucking mean? And that's not how you talk. And no, you didn't. And no, you aren't. And what is what was? Don't you mean what is? What are you talking about? Aren't you grateful that he's alive? I don't know. I can't. It's becoming this weird, a whole new level of caricature for Heather Dubrow, who was already a ridiculous caricature. Anyways.
Yeah,
that's
I don't understand.
She started me off in.
I'm glad I don't understand.
Same.
If I could understand, I'd be real bummed. And it's like, listen, I in Reddit, there is just so much like, I love Dubrow. I love fancy pants. Why does everyone complain about her? This is what we love in a housewife. You know what? There are other over-the-top, ostentatiously wealthy housewives that are infinitely more riveting to me. Dr. Nicole probably has as much, if not more, fuck you money than the Dubrows do. I love Dr. Nicole because she's real. She talks about what it's like with her fucking alcoholic dad. May he rest in peace. Heather had this opportunity to talk about her mom, but instead she has to make some like, well, you know, we're both going to make these kinds of jokes that sound a little bit laced with passive aggressiveness. And, you know, it's like she couldn't just come out and say, fuck, man, my mom is coming and she triggers me a little bit. So this is when I come out and really want to make my little dinner parties perfect, because I'm always thinking, what would my mom think? What would my mom think? That would have totally humanized her. A, does she even realize that that's something that she's doing? B, am I projecting? Absolutely. She might not actually be doing that, but I kind of think she is. C, I lost my train of thought, but my point, she would have become so much more interesting to me had she taken the Dr. Nicole route. So it just doesn't. It doesn't just
because
mean,
Dr. Nicole is wealthy because she earned a lot of her money. Heather Dubrow, like, it does make me like it interests me that she avoids. If Terry died, not that she'd ever be broke, but like that's a significant / all of her income, and they have endless assets. She would never struggle, but like, you know, when she was joking with him about like, I saved your life and all I got was this stupid t-shirt. And Terry said like, you get me and everything that comes with me. And I was like, yeah, Heather, that's money, property, and prestige. And those are the only things you value. So you better check yourself. And when she was like, if you weren't here, I'd be with someone. I'm like, would you? I don't know who would tolerate your insufferable ass except like a broke kid who was, interested in a sugar baby lifestyle. And there is nothing wrong with that. But like, you're an abusive, distant, frigid fuck. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. Everything about this turned me off. Terry clearly didn't get the note that like the poop line was cut from the skit that Heather wrote, because she looked so mortally wounded when he was like, they were talking about, we never live in that house.
Yeah.
I shower here. I have friends in the gym down here. And Terry was like, let's be honest, you poop here. And there literally was like a record scratch and silence. And Heather was like, I don't do that. And he was like, well, if you did. And she's like, if I did, it would happen here. Ha, ha, ha. Moving on. I was like, oh.
Dude, what a way to live. What a way to live. Yeah. I mean, I could talk for a whole hour on those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess she could easily date. I bet that Slade or John Jansen would leave Gretchen or Alexis. Gretchen, formerly of Alexis Couture, and Alexis, formerly of Alexis Couture. So, yeah. She could go out with Slade or John Jansen. Gross.
I don't need, but she wouldn't. It's so beneath her
No,
brand.
of course not.
So she'd have to, like, it would be like, she would want Mark Cuban, but Mark Cuban don't want her.
You know what? We shouldn't want Mark Cuban either, which really disappoints me.
What's happened
I've
now?
learned some things. He's just like the typical, like, I think he should have been Me Too'd by now, allegedly.
I'm sure that's true.
The spectrum may not be, on a scale of 0 to Harvey Weinstein, but he's on there. God damn it. Can't have nothing nice. But again, there are many people, I am one of them included, that is like, there's no such thing as a good billionaire. There's no ethical billionaires. So that's also not why anybody fucking called. There's probably a myriad podcasts about late stage capitalism and why billionaires are not ethical. And that's, yeah. Vaya con Dios to find one of those. I don't need to bring down anybody with that. And I keep talking about it because I'm feeling insecure.
No. Listen, we can get past Mark Cuban by going somewhere where no boys are allowed, which is girls' night out on the party bus. And I really have very little. I have nothing. I don't know. They are on the party bus. They pick up Katie. They pee inside and outside of her house. And I just don't. I didn't find it amusing or interesting. I was just like, can we get on with this?
If a friend or a coworker, if a new friend, a friendly acquaintance, a coworker, a friend of a friend comes to my house to pick me up and they pee in my fucking yard, Emily, I want season 17 Emily back. I'm not saying that like peeing outside isn't hilarious. I'm just saying that you're peeing in your castmates. You're not even like, you're right there by the front walk.
That's the thing, is it wasn't in the yard. She peed like next to a cement walkway. I was like, why don't you go in the yard? It's dark and like, I don't know why the cameras followed them. I'm sick of Tamara going like, oh, don't make me step in your pee. It's like, this is all so stupid. And it speaks to how little was available to them in this episode. If this is what made the cut,
you're right.
A whole like pee sequence at Katie's house, I just don't care.
I was disgusted. I was just, and it's just the disrespect, just like the Emily. What? This doesn't seem like you.
Emily doesn't seem like Emily. This is
Jesus.
I don't know if it's whatever. Something is, she's not herself. I mean, basically we just get more information about Heather's Disney paparazzi situation. Katie knows the person who apparently manages all paparazzi and photos in Los Angeles and has proof in a screenshot where she asked her source directly, did Heather call paparazzi to Disneyland? And the person just said yes. And I wrote, I truly don't care. I truly don't understand the birthday photo tagging drama. Why does that matter? What does it imply? I just got lost in...
What it implies is that Heather is contrived and she will go to any length to make sure that no one finds out how contrived she is. There's no way that she mistagged Katie. You can't mistag somebody. I mean,
No,
I guess
and
you
her
could,
explanation,
but not.
no. Her explanation,
It was.
it's one of those things where it's like, it's too detailed and crazy. Nobody
Yep.
would mistake Givenchy for this new girl who you've met once. Come on. And it was also too many things. It was like, I don't understand how to tag. I have someone else doing my social media. That person must have hit Givenchy, but then they're an idiot. So they hit your name. It's like, none of that's true. It's all too much. And yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to use my social media. I also live next door to Drake. Hello, fellow kids. She sucks.
And I
The bar
disagree.
dancing. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
no.
you.
I was just going to
No.
say, I just, that I loved that Katie, like us, just hates and doesn't understand why Heather doesn't just own it and come clean. She's like, I thought it was silly. I didn't understand this was going to become a thing. I thought it was silly and stupid, and I don't understand why she doesn't just own it and say like, yeah, there were rumors about Terry cheating, and so I made a stupid move and had pictures. Like, it would be over in a heartbeat if she just.
It would show her
doubles down.
humanity.
I know. God
it would show her
forbid.
humanity. And she refuses. Okay, I will give her this. She does show her humanity when it comes to her children. And I'll leave it at that. But yes, I think that everything else, her image just has to come first. It's just such a sad way to live. This is what I have written down somewhere in my notes, but I'll say it now while it's on the top of my mind. There are housewives that I would absolutely want to hang out with if they were never a housewife, if they didn't have money, if they didn't live in these, these zip codes that have been arbitrarily assigned more meaning and importance because of the amount of wealth that lives within them. Like if Dr. Nicole or Gertie or oh God, I can't think of anyone else right now off the top of my head. Maybe even Sutton, maybe even Sutton. Like if these housewives were not rich and were not famous, I would be very compelled by them. And I would probably want to get to know them. And I would want to just be in their orbit just to see what's doing. If Heather is rich, broke, whatever, I don't fucking care. I don't want to hang out with her. I don't want to know anything else about her.
And that's
what I don't understand.
Her. If she's broke, she evaporates. Her whole identity is money.
Yeah.
I can't find out. I don't know anything about
her. Etiquette. God.
But that's all connected to money.
Yeah, totally.
Even a hot dog, she can't relax and have it. She needs a pig in a blanket, which is like a self-contained appetizer. And it's just like, you're so fucking, she's whatever.
I agree. I agree.
And Gina
Tamara,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you.
No, go.
No, Tamara, just like the amount of like gremlin glee she got from, that Katie says she has a screenshot. She was like, like she is not there to be anybody's friend. And she will, at the reunion, cry her Tamara tears. Everyone will forget. Well, my mom just moved out. Whatever excuse it's going to be. Whatever excuse it's going to be for why Heather's going to be like, Tamara, why were you such a fucking raging bitch when Katie said she had pictures to me at the or proof that I called the paparazzi when you guys were at the dive bar? Something happened. She's going to come up with some Tamara level bullshit to rationalize her behavior. Everyone will move on. And I find her abhorrent and repellent. I don't want to know her in real life at all. Not one little bit. I don't even want her back on this show. She's not even entertaining to watch anymore because she's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, she's not bringing much.
Boring. That's all I have to say about that scene. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of people who will turn on anyone in a heartbeat, that includes, in my opinion, Heather. And so Gina being so protective of Heather and being like, I'm just so stressed out that everybody knows about this except Heather. And that's when Emily, drunk off her ass, is like, Katie's going to have to eat some Wheaties and have a protein shake and get ready to die at Heather's hand. And, just could not be more wrong because it is silly. Katie's right. This whole situation is silly. There's no real stakes in whether or not the Disneyland paparazzi stupid photos were staged or not. So the fact that everyone is taking this so serially, Wheaties, the fact that everyone's taking it so seriously is just foolish. So whatever.
Agreed. Oh, so we moved to Shannon, and Vicky comes over, and I knew it was going to happen. I don't ever like it, but we all knew it was coming. So
You could not have prepared me for how she entered, discussing pus coming out of her stomach and then explaining why her vagina is pristine. I just was like, I'm so glad you're not on the show anymore.
God.
And this is not a good advertisement for the Dose Amigas. Like, miss me.
Within the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm sure you've seen the allegations that have surfaced in the gossip blogs that Vicki Gunvalson is being sued by an insurance client for elder abuse and fraud, and she's denying it. I'm sure everyone's seen it, but I'll post the links to the articles in the show notes. But yeah. So TBD on Vicki. You know?
I mean, she did have a couple things she said in this scene in her confessionals that I thought made sense. So apparently Tamara didn't personally call Shannon or Vicki to tell them that she was bailing on the Tres Amigas. And Vicki said she has vinegar running through her veins and a black heart. And I feel like that just echoes exactly what you said about Tamara in the last scene. It's like, that is it. That's all there is to her. Vinegar and a black heart. And then they called Paris, their tour manager, and this really uncomfortable scene where they pitch their 2-person version of the Tres Amigas. And poor Paris looks, like all of us, irritated and unimpressed, that this is what they've come up with. And he just basically tells them, you just market it, just hustle and sell tickets. Like, it wasn't a good show as the Tres Amigas. It's not going to be a good show as just 2 of you. But if people want to come and, look at the animals in the zoo, they'll come. So just tell them that you're going to be in the zoo that day and see what we can do.
For a hefty cover charge, as far as I remember, like, weren't they like $75 or something?
Yes.
Like more than that?
It was absurd. And then when they showed what the show was and Shannon described it, she's like, it's like a variety show. There's audience participation and singing and dancing. And I was like, this looks offensive. It looks atrocious.
It probably for sure makes Luann's act look like she should be nominated for an Obie or a Tony.
At least Luann has respect for the craft. At least she understands what performance should be, even if she can't accomplish it. She knows you should have directors and rehearsals, and even if she doesn't do it. But this just looks like exactly what Shannon says. Shannon needs money, and this affected her income, and that's what this show feels like to me. It just feels like people desperate for money trying to take it from anyone who will give it.
Cough, cough, Sonia Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. All of them.
Yeah. Shannon tells Vicki that John Jansen's lawyer sent her a letter that she owes him $75,000, and Vicki, I don't know about you, but this clearly seemed like the most rehearsed scene I've ever, at least this little snippet, this little part of this scene. Vicki just immediately starts to list all of the things that Shannon paid. Have no doubt Shannon paid for all that stuff. John Jansen's a scumbag. And regardless of what we think about Shannon, that is pretty, he's just a dick. He's gross.
He's deliberately destabilizing her in any way he can because he knows it will make she can't manage that. She doesn't have tools to manage that, so she spins out and cries. And yes, he is a bad guy. And I did appreciate Vicki having the self-reflection to say you can't tell someone they're with an asshole. They have to figure it out for themselves. Nobody could tell her that Brooke sucked until she was ready to see it for herself. And I thought, I don't know. I thought that and gagging at the information about John Jansen was about as real as I've ever seen Vicki be.
I just don't give her that much credit. I still think she's grateful that Shannon is going through this.
Agreed, you're right.
In front of people, so that Vicki can again just trot out that old chestnut of, oh, I would never tell someone because I know what it's like to be judged. I'm like, you're just glad that you're not the only one with a trash fucking picker and a trash fucking boyfriend. This is not, you're not coming out of any kind of altruistic motivation
right.
here. That's my opinion. I
You're
am
right.
extremely
That's my
cynical when it comes to
opinion.
that woman. She is so, and I feel for her. I think her insecurity is just so, her insecurity and her lack of willingness to just do any kind of self-reflection. After Brooks, I think I would have checked myself into an inpatient center for like rehab from picking really bad partners. Like, he allegedly abused her fucking daughter that she worships. And I mean physically, but not to mention like mentally what he did to Brianna,
To the whole family. He was
he was just vile. And Vicky just, I still think that if Brooks was to want her back, I think that she would go.
I'm sure they already have slept together and seen each other. And yeah, no, I think it rears its head again later through Shannon as well. But this undercurrent of like, you're nothing without a man. Like when Shannon was like, I guess I have to take up golf because that's where the men are. It's like, oh, you can't have any kind of life that is like, it's craving companionship and partnership. Like nobody understands it more than me. I get it. But like, if that's what's driving your life, you're never going to be not miserable because you're always looking for an outside fix, and you'll always choose a John Jansen or a Brooks because you're just so desperate for like anything but nothing. And so you take right next to nothing.
Right next to nothing. And you give it some new teeth and you trot it out like your love tank is full and that you've never been more in love or understood by someone in your life. Didn't Shannon say that like about John? She said something extremely superlative about.
Yeah, I mean, she accuses him of love bombing, but I'm like, it at a certain point, it takes two. I remember I was in a relationship with someone and I was so excited because he got me a gift for my birthday, and I showed my friend the card he wrote, and she was like, "That there's nothing in there about you." And then I looked at it again and I was like, "Oh my God, it's just like general platitudes." And I was like, "Oh." But it's true. You get high on love and then you don't see that like it's not about you. It's probably a card he's written to 100 girls, 100 times.
Oh,
anyways.
Holy shit, dude.
And
seriously.
I do just want to mention, like, Vicky, you're right, is a terrible friend. Shannon had just gotten this DUI. It is not the time to go on the road with a show that centers around drinking unless you're going to make the whole center of it don't drink and drive. That would be an opportunity to use your platform for good in this moment. But instead they're like, oh, we'll just do the same show, but it's two of us. It was like, ugh.
Agreed. Do you have anything more about this scene before we move to Javier's with Katie and Matt?
Oh, I just had the scene between of Jen and Ryan packing for Vegas.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Yes, I've got that too. Sorry.
She puts on a crazy eyelash, and then it did break my heart that she said she hates that she doesn't feel like an equal with the women in this group because of her financial situation. And it's like, yeah, that's a reflection of the values of the people in your group.
Right.
Including the ones who have been poor recently, Gina. And she was saying to Ryan, like, I don't know if I should post from Vegas because she fears everyone will judge her. And part of me was like, but isn't that how you help your financial situation these days? Don't like posting and getting brand deals. Like, isn't that part of how these housewives make more money? I don't know. It doesn't feel like a $50 class at the yoga studio is really going to be the difference maker here.
No, especially as we learned that they have been served with a legal request to pay back rent from when they were paying
6 figures of back rent.
That is, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Season 18, Emily, 4 episodes in, is just proving to be, I just think she's a fucking monster. And I can't believe that when they showed the flashback of Emily telling Jen she looks like she has money because was she wearing Emily's jacket?
She was wearing Emily's jacket. So Emily was like,
she looks like she has money. Emily is picking at the runt of the litter. She knows that Jen won't fight back. How she is how she is okay kicking this woman while she's this down. I'm not saying don't be frustrated. I'm not saying don't be like, we all know we're watching her careen into, she's an out of control car about to careen into a wall. Just with her relationship with Ryan alone, we all see it. Legally, he is like this is not debatable, right? We all see that. On top of the financial stuff, like, this woman is in a humongous crisis. On the spectrum of crises, it's different from other kinds of crises, but it's got a place on the spectrum of crises, in my opinion. And for Emily to just be like going for the jugular at every opportunity, but if she does it with like a little bit of humor in her voice, I'm mortified. I'm really disappointed.
It's shameful. And it just speaks to, like, to me, it's so clear. You know, we've seen further down the road that Emily has a breakdown saying that Heather still looks at her like the fat girl in the group. And I'm like, I imagine that's what's going on, is she's done all this work. She's obsessed about her body. She probably didn't go to the gym that day. And there's Jen, who has an amazing body, but no money. I'm going to remind you, you have no money. So you have something I want, but I have something that makes me secure and comfortable. And like, it's such a stark look at how, like you're saying, an individual's insecurities become other people's problem. If you don't do work on yourself, you create wreckage, you cause harm. And I think I'm with you. I'm just stunned that Emily is so out of touch with that. What happened between the girl who ate a sandwich in a sauna last year to this woman who's taking any opportunity she can to kick someone who's in 6 figures of debt when they're down? Honestly, what are you doing?
With children at stake.
Yeah.
With children at stake.
And honestly, even if she didn't have children, it's still like,
you're right.
It's still a human being. She's someone's daughter, you know, she's someone else's child. So she's still, you know, like, that's all of my own bullshit.
I think you're absolutely onto something. I think that she's like, I don't get it. My outsides are now matching what I have spent my entire life telling myself, because I'm speaking from fucking experience. I'm going to project onto Emily Simpson right now a whole lot. So that's what I'm doing. She has the body that she always imagined was going to make the voices in her head quiet down. And lo and behold, it hasn't. It's made them louder, because now they're like, you better do what you got to do to keep it. Oh, my fucking God. Oh, nope, you can't fail. Nope. What's Tamara going to say? What's Jen going to say? Not Dr. Jen. That was, no, never again. What's Jen going to say with her perfect yoga body? You know, and she's like, oh, I think she's doing exactly what you said.
Sucks.
That's where she has her power now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm so grossed out. I'm so grossed out.
Me too.
It was funny. The last thing I'll say about the scene is that it was just struck me as grossed out, haha, like that Ryan's like, you know, money is just a whatever. And I'm like, bitch, just shut up.
Yeah,
don't talk to us about this. It's your
soul and your spirit that defines you. I'm like, well,
you don't have a soul.
Well, you better get in touch with that, because you're about to lose all of your money that you embezzled or earned illegally.
Exactly. Let's see. Yes. Then we go to Javier's with Katie and Matt. She informs him that she came up with a cute name. Let's do, drinking and driving range, for her golf event for the ladies. And Shannon and Heather said, maybe go workshop that again and come back when it's better. And I agree. I'm not 100% sure that the producers didn't come up with that one. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she knew exactly what she was doing, which is why Sip and Chip was immediately available to her on the back burner. So
I thought that was a cute one. Yeah.
It is cute. But this is what I like about Katie as a housewife, is like, she feels relatable, and yet she is also stepping right into stirring the pot everywhere she goes. At that lunch with Gina and Emily, she was like, I know about Heather's paparazzi photos. And, in Shannon's present. She's like, I'm going to host an event called Drinking and Driving. She knew Shannon had to do, like, she's just going for it. And I'm like, hell yeah, just go for broke in your first season, see what happens. I love her. I'm here for all of it.
I do too. I love
rules.
her. It seems like the consensus as well. So, yeah. And then she shares about how she was able to bond with Jen about, Jen's adopted son, Dom, and Katie growing up adopted, and, telling Matt that the fact that Jen is even cognizant of the fact that her child has, looks different than his siblings, speaks to the fact that Jen has more to offer her son's experience than Katie's experience when she was a child. I felt like I explained that very
No, that's
much
exactly it. She's like, Katie likes Jen
clunky way,
because
but-
she's sensitive and thoughtful about
Yeah.
the experience of, she's curious about what her son might be experiencing having a different skin color than the rest of the people under that roof. And and I wrote down, I'm like, oh, I wrote Katie and Matt are like Ramona and Josh. I wrote, she's smart and funny and direct and passionate. And he's a high level professional guy. He really listens to his wife and cares about her life.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cry.
That's like, I thought, I don't know. I really enjoyed that dinner scene because I felt like I was
did
out
too.
to dinner with my friends.
Like I would want to be at dinner. That's another thing. I would want to go out to dinner with Katie and Matt.
And
I don't
they
want to
both
go to
have-
dinner with Terry and
No.
Heather
And
at all.
Katie and Matt
Even
have-
if they're paying.
They have
At Nobu.
interesting lives. They're passionate
Yeah.
about things. They get up at 1 a.m. to record a podcast because they're exhausted, but they care about it. Like, I like people who like things and are curious about things and who devote time and energy to lots of things. And anyways,
I agree.
their little coupleship reminded me of you guys, and that warmed my heart.
Oh,
So
that's
there you
really
go.
sweet, Margie. I love that. I can't wait to tell Josh that. Then Katie comes over to Gina's house, and Gina tries to convince herself, tries to convince Katie, and tries to convince the viewers that everything is fine between her and Travis. Okay.
But this, she also is like weeping and talking about loneliness and the bed's so empty. I'm glad you're here, Meatball. And I just don't buy any of it. I feel like Gina is pulling a Heather Dubrow and trying to craft a narrative, which is just not reality. You're so glad he's gone. You're so glad no one was home when Katie came over. Like, I just don't believe Gina at all. And she would have an interesting storyline if she would just tell the truth. But this whole, and then later trying to frame it like Travis is breaking up with her. It's like, you kicked him and his children out of your house. He's not breaking up with you. If he is, it's an esteemable move on his part. But like, I just don't feel sorry for her. I don't care if you're lonely. I don't believe you're lonely. I think you love this freedom. I think you love not living with him and having a big house for you and your own kids. That's it.
I agree. I think her major feelings, and again, this is just my opinion, and I have been very compassionate to Gina over the years, and I don't know the situation that she's in, obviously, but from what I'm seeing, I just fucking forgot what I was going to say because I was busy trying to let everyone know that I'm not a shitty person because I'm about to make a judgment on someone. That's what just happened. You just watched codependency go down in real fucking time. You just watched me trying to manage what, like, God forbid someone think that I'm a terrible person. So I got to try to set this up in a way that doesn't make me seem like I'm a bitch, because I know I'm not a bitch at my core, but I'm just calling out her behavior. And now I don't remember what I was going to say. So let that be a lesson.
I mean,
Can't manage how people are going to receive you.
This show sets you, if you sign up to be on one of these shows, you are setting yourself up to be judged and criticized and
That's true.
and
true.
applauded and all the things. But
That's true.
Gina, yeah, she's ridiculous. On the heels of whining about how lonely she is that Matt's gone, she immediately is like, and a contractor is coming today to do something. It's like, what? He literally just moved out 30 seconds ago, and immediately she already has someone renovating the house for her kids. So
I remember what I was going to say.
Oh, good.
I believe that she has transferred the tremendous feelings of guilt. And I would hope and I would guess that it's keeping her up at night knowing that she has really caused some gnarly emotional no, I don't know if I want to say damage, but she's
Yes,
done some
damage. She
okay, she's
rejected
done
Travis's three children.
yes,
She kicked them
and
out. That's how they'll read it.
I
That's
think
damage.
that that's what she's really, I think those are the emotions that she's transferring onto, oh God, Travis wants to break up with me. It's like, no, you feel real fucking guilty over something that you, I believe, should feel really guilty about. And that's where the tears are coming from. It's not coming from a place of genuine sad. I don't know. Maybe there's some in there that's genuine sadness. It doesn't have to be black or white, but I think there's a lot of, I'm not a fan of her decisions, again, because her kids are and his kids are collateral damage, and I don't like that at all. That makes me so sad. That's all I have to say about that.
And then this is just a whole lot of back and forth. Like, again, I do love Katie for first season housewife immediately dropping her friend's clothing line into the mix. She's like, this is my friend's clothing line. You're all going to wear it. I was like, yes, exploit your time. Do it. I love it. But it's just basically everyone going back and forth talking about Heather's paparazzi situation, whether or not they were staged. Tamara and Emily obviously think they are. Gina threatens Katie, saying, if you don't tell Heather, I will. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need to get into the details of Tamara's mom fucking in her casita, but
fuck no.
We can.
Absolutely not. Nope. No, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you. Let's see. Emily goes to... Wait, no. We just talked about Emily at Tamara's.
I mean, I just sort of summarized those like the next four scenes, which is just a back and forth of these people kind of being idiots. But the heart of it is Heather's Disneyland paparazzi scandal.
And Emily is okay with fancy pants being taken down.
Mm-hmm. I think we all would be.
Yes, you're right. Like, I am the last person. Like, you could listen to the last fucking 50 however episodes we've got in the bank on this show. Like, I am the last person to say that I don't, enjoy some good Schadenfreude. So, yeah. But it's just, I think with the fact that Emily is just so, she's making it really hard to be on her side this season. And I hate that.
I do too. It's disappointing every episode so far. Each episode, I'm like, this will be the one where we get her back. And that is my Al-Anon program needing some work. The only one detail that I thought was interesting was that Katie mentioned that she's friends with Cynthia Bailey and a whole Los Angeles circle that Heather Dubrow is trying to break into now that she lives there. And apparently Cynthia reported that Heather Dubrow beelined to Cynthia, introduced herself briefly, only to ask, tell me everything you know about this Katie, and then got the information and left. So Heather's scared of her, and I love it.
Emily at Tamara's. Emily goes to Tamara's house, and Emily has a THC drink. She's never heard of THC before in her life, apparently, even though I've been to Southern California since cannabis became legal in this state, and you cannot fucking swing a Prada handbag by a cross-body length strap without it running into a cannabis billboard, a dispensary billboard, a fucking dispensary itself. Like, shut up, Emily. Stop trying to become the Real Housewives of Orange County version of Jennifer Lawrence, when Jennifer Lawrence was all about spitting up her water in an interview or tripping on a beautiful gown going upstairs at whatever award show. Like, quit it. Do you know what I'm saying? She's producing herself, and I don't like it, and I just think I miss the season 17, Emily.
I miss the old Kanye.
Oh my God, 100. And then we go to Katie's golf event. Yeah?
Yeah. Heather brings a bottle of Dom Perignon. Katie has Prada sunglasses as the prize. And then I just wrote, Shannon shows up dressed like a clown. And
Emily didn't hug Jen hello. She did not hug hello her castmate. Like, Emily loathes Jen because Jen is broke and not living her life the way that Emily approves of it if she was in the similar situation, which you can't compare yourself because they are different people and Emily has a different skill set. Based on the fact that they had very, very, very different upbringings. It's clear that Jen's parents, did that parent thing where they just tried to make Jen's life as easy as possible for her, and they are still showing up to do it. I am so conflicted on that. Where does the enabling stop and where does the helping start, and vice versa? What would I do if I was in that situation and I could help my child who was being faced with eviction? I think I know what I would do, regardless of whether or not they are enabling Jen or not. Emily, from what we know about her relationship with her mom, she had to fend for herself probably mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially from the time that she was able to do it, even if it was just at like a real basic level. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if there's some sort of jealousy there on Emily's side. Like, look at how she's been taken care of and she's had all these landings this whole time for her to fall on. But now see what happened. Like, listen, I would much rather have Emily's skill set than Jen's skill set. I think all of us can agree on that. But Emily can't expect that everyone is just going to do what she did because they just come from, they're two very, very different people. I don't
Well, I think
don't care, but I care.
Yeah. I think Emily resents the ease that Jen has had in her life up to this point.
Yeah.
And like you said, Emily's scrapped her whole life.
Yep.
And so now I think Emily's just like, haha, see, this is what it's like. And that's how it should feel terrible. And you should be punished for having ease in your life because I didn't get that. So I think, again, it's just all these things that like a couple trips to therapy could really help soften.
Really, like
the
not even a
damage
very
they
long
do
time,
to each
probably.
other.
Yes, exactly. Gina arrives and tells Heather that Travis tried to break up with her the night before.
I don't believe her. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree.
You manufactured your own misery, and I don't even believe that you're miserable. I think you got what you wanted, and now you're trying to make yourself a victim. And God bless Travis for putting it on camera last week, saying, you're trying to give reasons to undo the decision that you made, and it's confusing. And it's because it's not honest. Then we have the tournament. Emily wins. She's so gross, even as a winner. She's like, well, I win at life, so why not golf? And then she puts on the Prada sunglasses. I was like, you're just an asshole. I don't want to hang out with you.
I don't either.
Last year, I really thought I did.
I know. Me too, for sure.
And then we get into post-game hot dog
No,
cart.
please.
No,
yes.
I'm done.
Yes. Yeah. Tamara tells Heather what Katie said about the paparazzi. And at another table simultaneously, Katie is telling Shannon, Jen, and Gina that Heather had asked about her. And Shannon says that Heather did the same to her when she joined the group. Fully believe that. 100% believe that.
She's doing, what is it? Oppo or whatever?
Oppo research. Yep. Opposition research. Yep.
And Katie is this direct and awesome confronting Heather. And Heather is totally agitated and out of her mind because she's caught. And for all of her preaching about not caring about nonsense, she sure does get into this fight and shuts down Katie and says, I don't even know if I want to be your friend. And I loved. This was, I wrote this little sequence down where Katie says, I have a screenshot of a text message. And Heather goes, well, there's apps that can fake texts. And Katie goes, Heather, do you really think he'd do that? Like, she's just like exasperated with her. And Heather goes, I don't have a worry in my body about this. And Katie goes, I didn't think you would. I thought this was silly. And then Katie asks, are you harboring anything against me? And Heather goes, I don't even know you, Katie. And Katie goes, correct. And Heather goes, and now I don't know if I want to. And it's like, Heather, you are losing this. You should shut up. And Katie just laughs and shrugs it off. She's like, okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for the dom. Bye.
I feel like the only reason why, and please tell me if what I'm about to say is like one of the most diabolical, shitty things I've ever said in the history of our friendship or this podcast. Heather swears on her children's lives she has never called the paparazzi. So my loophole is that, like, okay, yeah, your loophole is that Terry did it. Let's not forget that Terry has the show on E. Terry,
her assistant did it.
Yeah,
it's
or her
semantics.
Assistant. Right.
It's all semantics.
Okay. Yeah. Totally.
No, I think that's because when she sweared on her kids' lives, and everyone in this scene too was like, oh, but she can do that because in a court of law, it wasn't her who placed the phone call. You won't find that call in her records. She had someone else do her dirty work because she doesn't like to be dirty. And then Heather in her confessional grossly tries to spin it back on Katie, saying like, she's digging up information on me. Everything she's accusing me of doing, she's doing. And it's like, no. Nope, because Katie just let it go. When it was over, Katie just shrugged and was like, well, that was ridiculous. And Heather's still like, she's looking to find out things about me. And it's like, you're not interesting.
She's not interesting.
We're talking about Disneyland paparazzi stupid ass photos that you should be embarrassed of, whether they were staged or not.
I've never seen in the history of this entire show, I've never seen Terry hug Heather the way he did in those paparazzi pictures at Disneyland.
And what are they pointing at? I've never seen Heather point. She's just not
She's not
expressive
curious
with her
about
body.
shit.
No, exactly.
Right.
It's all ridiculous.
The only thing that she is curious about and will point at is, oh, how much is that diamond in that case? Could you put that out on the counter for me to see it? Mm-hmm. She'll point at that. She's not pointing at the fucking Sleeping Beauty castle spire.
No, she's not in wonderment at Disneyland with her husband of 100 years. No.
And then I don't know if anyone watched What Happens Live after, but we already talked about when she said she was on, she's taking classes at the Groundlings, and that she tells us about that after she answers Andy's question. Like, I think Andy said that a listener was like, so now that you live in now that Heather's in Beverly Hills, does that mean she's going to be on Beverly Hills Housewives? And she's like, I don't know. I'm going to fake being like interested in this. I don't know. Like, just...
Part of me would
I don't want her
it.
on that show. Oh, really?
Just because she won't fit in at all. It'll be one season and she'll be such a dud and a flop and everyone will hate her. So part of me is like, go ahead, get what you want. Let's see what it does. You're not a Beverly Hills housewife. So
she's just not.
Let's see you give it a try, Heather.
Yeah.
You're so boring.
She's so boring. So,
yeah.
Yep. And then and that was the end of the episode. Yeah. So, yeah. Friend, what else did you watch this week?
I watched $1 Million Listing, which I'm really enjoying this season. Mm-hmm. And then I just watched a bunch of the Olympics. I'm really loving the Olympics for all the things that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Teamwork and, standing up when you fall down and supporting each other and celebrating victories. And I'm really having a blast with the Paris Olympics.
Yeah.
How about you?
No, we've let's see, watched probably the most we've watched is gymnastics. Like, of course, everybody. Like, how could you not? Tried to watch a little bit of skateboarding. Which is, I'm just so glad that is being recognized as an Olympic level sport. FYI, there is a member of the USA skateboarding team who is 50.
There's a lot of athletes like in their 40s and 50s. I mean, in, some weird sports, like whatever the one is where you put your hand in your pocket and shoot a gun at a target. But
I don't even know that one.
There's some 50-year-old man who's gone viral because he also wears glasses and he looked all casual and hot when he was doing whatever sport that is. I don't know. Social media makes the Olympics weird, but I'm enjoying it.
When the Brazilian women's gymnastics team was doing their vault competitions, I, again, completely projecting, a few of them didn't stick. Like, they stuck, but not super stuck, their landings. And the palpable disappointment, they would officially end their routine, putting their hands up and flash a little smile, and then immediately just what I only recognize in myself is self-hatred and beating myself up, not focusing on the fact that you fucking got 50 goddamn feet up in the air because you jumped and then did a handspring with your upper body strength that I can only dream of, and then twist 4 fucking times in the air before you land. You fucking won. You did a great job. And I was just like, oh, please don't beat yourself up. Please focus on what you did well. I mean, I need to take that own note myself, but just to bring everything back to therapy and self-compassion and being mindful, and it just broke my heart. And then I have to talk myself through it. You don't know what they're really, you can't 100% know for sure what they're thinking, but it just
But I also
it stresses me out sometimes.
Yes,
Just made
but
me
I
sad.
also think there's something valuable about that Olympic Village. Like, I don't know if you watch some of the swimming, but Katie Ledecky, the Canadian swimmer who just like cannot be beat, she's literally pool lengths ahead of everyone else in the sport. And the American swimmer came in and got the silver, and they interviewed her after, and she said, this Olympics is a totally different experience for me. My last Olympics, my whole identity was swimming. Now I have a really big, full life. So this is something that I really love to do. And I really am enjoying the crowds and the sport itself. And she got a silver medal against someone who's impossible to beat. So like she destroyed, but she was just so humble and like talking about exactly what you're talking about how her first Olympic experience was about disappointing everyone, beating herself up, full of shame, obsessed with the sport and perfectionism. And in a 4-year period of time, she's returned to medal and say that like, I love this sport. I love this experience. Like you can feel a perspective change. So my point is, I hope that in the Olympic Village that, athletes talk to each other and have conversations like that and help each other find different paths through like that incredibly challenging, experience. Anyways, that's your alarm because you need to go. So
I'm so sorry. No, I have like a few minutes to wrap up. I'm so sorry that alarm went off while you were talking.
No,
I've got plenty of time to wrap up. I promise.
Did you watch anything other than Olympics or?
Yes, I'm continuing Summer House. I'm at the 4th of July weekend of season 3. So people already know that Kyle has cheated. Amanda knows that Kyle has cheated. And I miss Steven. I miss Lauren, the one twin. I do like Hannah. I don't know why everyone thinks that this new guy, it was Hannah, Paige, and some new guy that came. And everyone thinks he's so good looking. And I'm like, I don't see it at all. He's just like, I guess he has abs. His body looks plastic to me when he takes his clothes off.
Jordan?
Is it Jordan?
I
know his name starts with a J, but, and everyone's just freaking out about how hot he is. And I'm like, just like, there's a lid for every pot. I don't know. Just for me, I just did not, I don't know. But it's his personality too. His personality and his physicalities, I don't see it. So Summer House, I did, I had The Bachelorette on in the background. These men the bar is subterranean. This is nothing new. It's just the poor Bachelorette casts.
I'm enjoying watching it weirdly. I loved that they invested so much in New Zealand culture.
That was great. Yes.
I loved when that kid got his ass handed to him. He got all confident and talked about his boss bitch energy and then tried to kiss her. And she was like, actually, I'm going to send you home. And he was like, okay. Like but not in like he asked to kiss her and she said no. And he acquiesced and went home. Like there's something about it that's just like, that's how you learn how to do these things is you have to make an ass of yourself to figure out like where the lines are and stuff. And I don't know, everyone made fun of him, but I was like, good for him for doing this on national television. Like anybody who doesn't relate to that moment, you need to get out more and do more dating. Cause like everyone's been there where someone swerved a kiss or you've like tried to make the moment happen and it's not happening. And like,
I don't think so. Yeah,
anyways,
totally.
It just
totally.
seems. What about your antidepressant?
Let's see. I am going on a plane tonight to see my sister and my mom and my friends up in Portland to help my sister celebrate her birthday tomorrow. And that it's like a pre-antidepressant, This week really required a lot of organization for me. And I stepped up to the plate for the most part, which makes me feel good. And I want to say that is in regards to me grappling with my ADHD, not me trying to participate in hustle culture. That's why I want to be organized. It's like, no, I want to be organized so that my family doesn't have to deal with me when I am not organized, and I don't have to deal with me when I'm not organized. And so that feels good. I'm sure there's other things and I can't remember, but lots to be grateful for, which also feels like an antidepressant.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's just supposed to be one. Take the pressure off. one antidepressant.
Okay. You're right. Oh my God, you're right.
It
Jesus
doesn't
Christ.
have to be a laundry list. And all of those things sound amazing, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. And always just knowing that we were going to do this today made me so fucking happy. Always an antidepressant, goes without saying.
Preach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll mention my antidepressant.
Please. Oh my God, yes.
It's Olympic related. I've just been like rolling on the floor, like belly laughing to the point of like sweating and crying. It's making me laugh so hard. There's these videos that people are posting saying something to the effect of, like I didn't make the Olympic team this year. And then they show themselves like doing terrible cartwheels or falling off a balance beam or landing weird. Like it's just all like slips off of a diving board. It's all these like stupid just slips and falls and people like finding the humor in it and posting it. And I don't know why it's making me laugh so hard, but it has brought me enormous joy this week. So
I love that.
oh God, it's stupid.
No, it's not.
It is. And then the other antidepressant is today is my niece's birthday and she's 20 and she's awesome. And I'm going to call her the second we wrap up. And I'm just, it's just another day to like, I remember when she was born and I remember meeting her for the first time as this like little peanut hunched over in a car seat. And she's just an incredible human being. She's an incredible sister. She's an incredible daughter. She's an incredible niece. She just rules. And like, I'm so lucky that she's mine. She's my niece, I'm just so proud of her.
Happy
So
birthday,
anyways,
Clara.
I can't wait to call her and talk to her. And those are my antidepressants, people falling down and my sister's firstborn.
Priorities, man. That's
Right?
great. I get it. Yes.
It's all about balance.
It is. And laughing is so good for us. And you're laughing at people that willingly put up videos of themselves like, hey, haha,
That's the key, is that it's all people doing it for themselves. And it's so stupid. Anyways.
Heather needs to know what it's like to make yourself vulnerable and run the risk of looking stupid if you want to be funny.
And enjoy what's foolish about yourself. Enjoy it.
What's foolish about yourself.
It connects
Thank you.
people. It bonds people. It's an entryway of like human connection. So
absolutely. I agree. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Oh, yeah. Last week, for some reason, Margie's audio
who cares?
Disappeared from the last 30 seconds. So I was there like saying goodbye to everybody, just sounding like, I just sounded like some, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like being out there by myself.
Literally
but
did
for some
not
reason,
notice
your
it.
audio disappeared. I was like, anyway, but I'm glad that hopefully your audio won't disappear. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and take good care of yourself this week. Find the funny things to laugh at. Yeah.
We'll talk next week.
We'll talk next week. Yes. Thank you. My God, I could just need to learn how to. I can't save the fucking world with a perfect, compassionate, beautiful wrap up to our show. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But that's where I come from.
I get it.
This is codependency in real time.
I get it.
This is codependency in real time.
Listen, you're doing the thing. There's two options with this set of feelings. And one is to do what you're doing, which is like to keep trying. And the other is to do what I'm doing, which is like cut and run. Like, we'll just see you next week. I can't get this right. So it's like, it's two sides of the same coin. God bless us. We'll keep trying. And,
yes.
We'll be back next week to do it some more.
Yes, exactly. All right. That's all. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.